Coronation Street tease that Sam's quiet evening of reprieve will shatter beneath Mick's mounting fury, an eruption of anger so fierce that even the cobbles seem to tremble in anticipation. It begins in the snug warmth of the local pub, where Sam, still shaken from a day's worth of small humiliations, tries to drown her misgivings in a pint and the comforting chatter of old friends. But the door swings open with a crack of tension, and there he stands, Mick, eyes blazing like storm clouds, fists clenching at his sides. Sam's heart stutters. She knows tonight nothing will go as planned. Earlier that afternoon, a casual remark at the cabin had set Mick off, an innocent comment twisted by unseen ribs of resentment. Sam had laughed, softly, inadvertently, as Mick flinched at a barbed joke from a passing stranger. In that moment, unseen yet perfectly timed, Lyly appeared at Sam's side and slipped something heavy into her coat pocket, a single, damning photograph. Sam, startled, felt the weight of it, but dared not look until she was alone. By then it was too late. The image, a staged tableau hinting at infidelity, found its way into Mick's hands, and with it, his suspicion ignited. Now Mick storms toward Sam, each step echoing like distant thunder. She stands frozen, toes gripping the worn floorboards, unable to explain how the photograph reached him, how Lyly's lips had quivered as she watched Mick raise his voice. His voice booms when he speaks, and the other patrons fall silent, watching the confrontation ripple through the pub's smoky haze. Sam's throat tightens. She is acutely aware that every eye is on her, judging, waiting for her to crack. Before Sam can stammer even a word of protest, a cold voice cuts through the tension, Lyly, leaning against the bar with a self-satisfied smirk, her arms crossed. Sam's blood runs cold. Lyly doesn't attempt to intervene, instead, she watches Mick's fury unfold with an almost clinical detachment. When Mick glances at Lyly, half in confusion, half in accusatory demand, Lyly only shrugs. She had it coming, she says, voice low. I just helped him see what he needed to see. Sam's disbelief is immediate and painful. Lyly, whom she once thought a friend, is now the architect of her humiliation. She had been locked out of the flat that morning, left shivering on the doorstep until dusk, and in her desperation, beaten back tears with futile prayers no one would come looking. But Lyly had watched from the landing window, unblinking, her betrayal complete before Sam even realized she was trapped. To see her now, standing aloof as Mick menaces Sam, feels like a blow to the gut. Mick's voice breaks through Lyly's cold commentary. You set me up, he roars. His fist slams against the bar, rattling glasses. Sam throws up her hands, urgent. Mick, please, listen. I didn't do this. Lyly, she's the one who, but Lyly only tilts her head, as though Sam's words are gibberish. You never asked, she says, voice soft but unyielding. You never gave me reason to protect you. Humiliation flushes Sam's cheeks. The pub's silence wraps around her like a shroud. No one steps forward. The old friends she thought she could call on, including Dev and Olya, who have since moved on, seem to have vanished into the clinking glasses and half-drawn curtains. Sam's gaze flickers from face to face, searching for an ally, anyone willing to defy Lyly's cold verdict and Mick's wrath. But the only witness is fear itself, crowding the room like an invisible mob. As Mick tightens his hold on the photograph, Sam seizes a chance. She lunges for Lyly's arm, compelled by desperation. Why, she whispers, voice cracking. Why would you do this to me? Lyly pulls free without hesitation. Because I hate you, she confesses, eyes unflinching. The words strike Sam like ice. Hate, hatred so raw that it requires no justification, only the desire to wound. Sam staggers back, chest heaving, as Mick processes this confession. His expression darkens further, transforming his fury into a cold, menacing calm. Then you'll answer for it, Mick growls, stalking toward Lyly now, fury redirected at the betrayer. Lyly's smirk flickers for the first time, replaced by the quiver of apprehension. But before Mick can strike, Sam steps between them, the weight of her own fear giving way to protectiveness. No more violence, she pleads, voice steadier than she feels. This is between me and her. Mick halts, jaw tight, and for a moment holds her gaze. So many unspoken things in those dark depths: love, anger, guilt. But the fragile truce fractures when Lyly, unrepentant, whispers under her breath, "You'll never see her the same way." Mick whirls on her again, and Sam catches sight of his knuckles whitening. It's a terrifying moment. Two people she thought she understood now poised on the cusp of ruin. Panicked, Sam flees the pub before Mick can act. She darts down the street, heart pounding, glancing back only to see Mick emerge, face contorted with fury. She breaks into a run, lungs burning, until she reaches the narrow alleyways where dim streetlights offer little comfort. All around, the city seems indifferent, empty doorways, silent shutters, the distant hum of traffic. She realizes she has no one to turn to. Her old friends are scattered, Lyly is the traitor, and Mick is a stranger driven by anger she can barely comprehend. In the days that follow, Sam moves like a ghost through Coronation Street, haunted by Lyly's betrayal and Mick's rage. She tries to confide in Maria, who is sympathetic, but wary of becoming entangled in dangerous family feuds. She sends frantic texts to Ken and Rita, no replies. The only message she receives is from Lyly's new portrayer, Grace Ashcroft, unexpectedly tagging Sam in a cryptic social media post. Some roles are easier to wear when you can hide behind a mask. Sam's stomach twists. The public dimension of her betrayal stings deeper than Mick's anger. Now she is exposed in gossip threads and hurtful comments. With every passing hour, Sam feels her strength ebbing. Fear has become a constant companion, whispering doubts at the edge of her mind. Is there something more between Lyly and Mick that she doesn't know? Did Lyly's hatred stem from a secret scandal, a hidden betrayal long buried? And what part has Grace Ashcroft's arrival played in reigniting old resentments? Alone in her flat, Sam searches for answers. She rereads old messages from Lyly, looking for clues of motive. She scours CCTV footage in her mind, only to remember the moment Lyly deliberately locked her out, a dark figure silhouetted behind the frosted glass. She recalls a whispered argument, just too faint to catch, between Lyly and Mick's brother last winter. A seed of suspicion takes root. Perhaps Lyly's envy of Sam's closeness with Mick drove her to sabotage everything. Yet even as theories swirl, Sam knows she must face her fear alone. No ally has stepped forward, no savior has appeared. She steels herself for whatever comes next, whether it's another confrontation with Mick's unpredictable wrath, a final fallout with Lyly, or the unveiling of a secret that might explain why the woman she once trusted now seems determined to see her destroyed. In the quiet of that lonely room, Sam makes a vow. She will reclaim her life, piece by fragile piece, even if she must walk through the thorns on her own. Sam's footsteps echoed hollowly as she crossed the threshold of the Mayhew household, her palms still trembling from the confrontation in the alley. Outside, the streetlights glowed dimly through the early dusk, casting long shadows that danced across the pavement like silent onlookers. Inside, Shona sat stiffly at the kitchen table, her arms folded, while David hovered by the sink, drying his hands with a tea towel clenched so tightly the fibers frayed. Neither spoke until the door clicked shut behind Sam. Shona was the first to break the silence. "Tell me exactly what happened," she said, voice low but urgent. Sam sank into a chair, her heart pounding with exhaustion and fear. She'd fled Mick's wrath once more, and now had nowhere left to hide. She recounted the scene in the pub, Mick's roaring anger, Lyly's cold smirk, the photograph that had set the whole tragic farce in motion, and all the while David's jaw clenched tighter, knuckles whitening around the towel. When Sam finished, David set the tea towel down like a weapon. "I still can't believe she'd betray you like that," he growled, stepping forward. "Lyly locked you out on purpose." Sam nodded, tears welling. She said she hates me," she whispered. "Hates me?" Shona exchanged a troubled glance with David. "Why?" she asked softly. "Why would she hate you?" Sam stared at her trembling hands. "I don't know. I never gave her a reason." Shona rocked back in her chair, eyes narrowing as she considered Sam's words. David, his fury barely contained, paced in tight circles. "We'll get to the bottom of this," he promised, voice shaking. "She'll explain herself, one way or another." Later that night, Shona and David confronted Lyly in the austere calm of the Hawthorne flat. Lyly sat on the edge of an armchair, Grace Ashcroft's bright smile seeming at odds with the tension in her posture. Her hair was loose around her shoulders, and she stared at the carpet as Shona's knock echoed through the hallway. When Lyly opened the door, the warmth drained from her face. "Why did you do it?" Shona demanded, crossing the threshold without invitation. Lyly's lips trembled. David loomed behind Shona like a sentinel. "You need to tell us the truth." Lyly's gaze flicked from Shona to David, then down to her clasped hands. "Because I hate her," she said at last, the words tumbling out like stones. "I hate Sam." Shona recoiled as if struck. David's face went pale. "Hate her? Why?" Shona managed. Lyly's eyes filled with tears, but anger burned in their depths. "She stole everything from me. I was supposed to be Mick's right hand, his partner, his confidant. But when he looked at her, his eyes lit up in a way they never did with me." She lifted her chin, voice quivering. "I thought I could fix it, expose her for the fraud she is. And once she was out of the way, Mick would see me. He would." David's fist slammed into the arm of a nearby stool with such force the wood splintered. "You used her fear against her," he snarled. Lyly flinched at the outburst, tears spilling free now. "I know, I went too far. I thought if I taught her a lesson, I could win him back." Her confession broke off as David strode forward, hand raised. Before Shona could intercede, David's blow landed across Lyly's cheek, a fierce crack that echoed in the still room. Lyly yelped, stumbling back, hand flying to her face where redness bloomed. Shona was at David's side in an instant, one hand on his arm, the other hovering protectively over Lyly. "David, stop," she cried. He whirled on Shona, eyes wild. "She deserved it," he yelled, voice breaking. Lyly pressed a hand to her cheek, sobbing now. "Stop it," Shona repeated, softer this time, as though coaxing a frightened child back from a ledge. David seemed to come back to himself then, horror dawning on his features. He sank onto a chair, burying his face in his hands. Shona knelt beside Lyly, gently easing her to the sofa. "We need answers," she murmured. "But violence won't give us what we need." Lyly wiped her tears, cheeks streaked. "I'm sorry," she rasped. "I'm so sorry. I was desperate. I thought, if I pushed her away, she'd go, and then it'd just be Mick and me again." Shona exchanged a look with David, whose shoulders shook with regret. "We have to fix this," she said quietly. "For Sam's sake, and yours." Lyly nodded, bleeding remorse etched on her face. She would have to face Sam soon, to beg forgiveness, or at least lay bare the full extent of her jealousy. Meanwhile, Sam spent the next morning tiptoeing through Coronation Street, every footstep thudding in her chest. Each familiar face seemed a potential judge, someone who might have heard Lyly's lies or Mick's rumors. She paused at the cabin, fingertips brushing the counter, as if seeking comfort in the worn wood. Rita emerged from behind the magazines, concern flickering in her eyes. "Sam, love, you look as though you've seen a ghost," Rita said, crossing over. Sam hesitated, then let out a shaky breath. "I need to talk to Mick," she said. Rita's eyes went wide. "Are you sure?" Sam nodded. "He needs to hear the truth from me." Inside the cafe, Sam found Mick at the back table, dark circles under his eyes and tension lining his features. When he saw her, he stood so abruptly the chair scraped backward. "Why are you here?" he demanded. Sam's voice trembled as she stepped forward. "I need you to listen." Mick's jaw tightened. "I already know what," she said. Sam reached into her pocket and pulled out a small tape recorder, the kind with a sliding switch. "I recorded you and Lyly," she said. Mick's eyebrows shot up. Sam pressed play. Mick's voice came through, clipped and harsh, ordering Lyly to make Sam look bad, to plant doubts in his mind. Lyly's laughter followed, cold and triumphant. "I'll make sure she pays." Mick's expression shifted from anger to shock, then to guilt so profound Sam felt her chest constrict. I didn't," he stammered. Sam cut her off gently. "I never wanted you to stay angry at me. I wanted you to know the truth." Mick buried his face in his hands. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "I should have trusted you." Sam sat, tears pricking her eyes. "I know," she whispered. But Lyly's lies cut deep. Mick swallowed hard, then reached across the table to take her hand. "No more secrets," he promised. "From both of us." By midday, word had spread of Lyly's confession and David's outburst. Most of Coronation Street rallied to Sam's side. Those who knew her generosity recalled how she'd lent a caring ear, offered help without expecting anything in return. Yet pockets of gossip lingered, fueled by shock or lingering doubt. Sam found an ally in Grace Ashcroft herself, Lyly's replacement, but also a compassionate soul moved by the turmoil surrounding her new role. They arranged to meet in the quiet of the cafe after closing time. Grace slid into the seat opposite Sam, carrying 2 mugs of steaming tea. "I wanted to say I'm sorry," she began, her voice soft. "I never meant to be part of this." Sam sipped her tea, warmth spreading through her hands. "It's not your fault," she said. "But I appreciate you reaching out." Grace's thoughtful gaze lingered on Sam's face. "I've stepped into her shoes, but I'm determined not to follow her path," she said firmly. "If there's anything I can do," Sam offered a small smile. "Just, don't let Lyly's mistakes define the character. And if you ever need a friend on set, I'll be there." Grace exhaled as though relieved. "Thank you." In that moment, an alliance formed, one that might yet heal old wounds and breathe new life into a character betrayed by her own. That evening, David and Shona invited Sam and Mick to the Mayhews for a tentative truce dinner. The 4 gathered around a small table, candles flickering softly between mismatched mugs and a steaming casserole. The mood was cautious but hopeful. Lyly's apology had been sincere, but trust would take time to rebuild. Shona raised her glass of elderflower cordial. "To honesty," she said, and the others lifted their glasses in agreement. Sam caught Mick's eye and saw gratitude shining there, gratitude for her courage, for David and Shona's unwavering support, and even for Grace's unexpected kindness. As they ate, Sam allowed herself to envision the future, a Coronation Street where she and Mick could walk hand in hand without fear, where Lyly might find redemption, her jealousy transformed into genuine friendship, where Grace Ashcroft could breathe new energy into Lyly's role, and where David and Shona would continue to shepherd those in need through life's cruelest storms. Outside, the street settled into night, its windows aglow like watchful eyes. Within, 4 souls shared a fragile peace, knitted together by confession and forgiveness, and by the unwavering belief that even the deepest betrayals could be healed by truth and grace. Anna's laughter stirred around the table. Sam finally felt the tight coil of fear unwind, ready at last to face whatever came next, no longer alone, but surrounded by those who truly cared.